That's better. That's my guess.
Yes.
I will take it.
طيب مرحبا بكم مرة أخرى في الدورة. معنا اليوم البروفيسور أماديو سكاتريلي. البروفيسور أماديو الآن هو موجود في الرياض وفي المملكة لعدة أسباب، لأنه عنده مشاريع في الرياض بالتحديد، أيضا عنده مشروع الآن في الدرعية، وأيضا هو صاحب مكتب سكاتريلي، وأيضا شريك في مؤسسة اسمها تكتورة. مؤسسة تكتورة هذه تعمل معنا مع التراث في جدة على جدة التاريخية. جدة التاريخية في مشروع طبعا قائم الآن restoration في جدة التاريخية وبناء وإعادة استخدام وكذا، فهم الشريك معنا في هذا المشروع. ويسرنا وجوده معنا اليوم، خاصة اليوم لإعطائنا موضوعين عن الريستوريشن. موضوع عن البلانيتاريوم، هذه كلها في إيطاليا. موضوع آخر عن مبنى المنظمة الإسبانية للآثار في روما. فالمشاريع اللي حيقولنا عليها الآن هي مشاريع وقعت في الواقع، موجودة وعمل عليها يعني سأعملوا لها ريستوريشن في المشافي. Yes.
That's it.
Thank you for now for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Offers to give us.
Can you take them up?
Yeah, I have a lot of points, but yeah. Yes, you can hear me. Thanks, Professor Zana. I'm here. It's really a pleasure. I want to show you two projects here. I have also a third one, but I'm afraid that it will not arrive in time because that's a real restoration project, and let's say is scientifically kept, so it could be useful for you, but I will leave the documentation to Professor Zana if you are interested in. These two projects are quite different because as you can imagine, while as architects we are, let's say, having relationships with architecture, but mainly with the history. The choices that we can have in front of us are completely and totally different. Because history, of course, that means everything and nothing. History is even to yesterday's history. In the history of a place, there are buildings which are magnificent. There are documents. We cannot even change, a small stone without destroying the sense of that building. But there are also buildings which are not so important. I mean, maybe that some part of them are really important and some no. So the problem that we have while we have in front of us the preservation of a building is also to give life to that building. Otherwise it dies like a man. And if it dies, there is no sense even the preservation will transform that building in a mummy, in something which has no life inside, is freeze. Now we have I told you, two projects. The first one is the octagonal chamber of the baths of Diocletian. I hope it's this one, the correct one. I'm afraid it's not. Just a second. I push this one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll show you where it is. Now, just a second, because I have to manage all things. The baths of Diocletiano were built in the 3rd century after Christ. It means that we are speaking almost of 1,700 years ago. They were located, the exact form of it is signed by the corners. Here is one corner, this building here. This is one of the corners. The other one is here. The third one is here. And the fourth one is was here. So the remains of the bath, the remains of the Roman part are almost in this area here, this one. And they are facing the new railway station of Rome. As you can see here, we have an important sign, this exedra, this one, which was the original exedra of the Roman bath. Now, of course, on that, there were built new buildings during 19th century. So it means that the design of the Roman building became the starting point of the renovation of town in that section of Rome. In those areas, we have the building we are interested in is this one. Is this one here, which is, let's say, one of the corners, because of course outside that part there were gardens. Then there was a built tower area which was, let's say, smaller, which was almost this one. Here, it's almost a square. And over there were the real baths with swimming pools, calidarium, frigidarium, tepidarium, which were the rooms where the steam was, or the hot, or the pools. And you should imagine even that all this area, there were almost two buildings. One building which was open to the public, where the people used to go to have bath. But just behind them, there was another town, which was the town where the services were provided. But there were let's say, there was a fire just to produce steam, or to just get the pavement warm and produce the heat and so on. That building, after let's say the end of the Roman Empire, so we are speaking about of the 5th century after Christ. So it lasted almost two centuries, no more. After that age, ruined that. So it was abandoned. Let's say that in the medieval period and soon after was reused as a monastery, and we have traces of that in that courtyards here, which were renovated in the 16th century by Michelangelo, which also drew up a church inside here, in this building here. This part now is a church. This is the Church of Santa Maria degli Angeli, which was made by Michelangelo. Anyhow, the space where we are, of what we are speaking, is this one. It was almost abandoned and reused as, let's say, a storage place. During the Pro period, all this area underneath was used as storage for grains, for olives, for oil, just to support people during periods, the scarcity of produce. But they had ready all these materials there. I'm telling the story because it's quite interesting. And that's the plan of the building, the Roman plan. As you could see, that's the form of the exedra. There were gardens around, behind. Inside the walls there were gardens, and then in this area, the central area, there were the real baths. That's the section of the building and the facade. This is, let's say, a survey which was done almost in the beginning of the 19th century. The building we are speaking is this one, this part. As you can see, this building was cut in two. That's Santa Maria degli Angeli on that side. So it was cut in two to let a road pass through. So this Sala Ottagona, which was the corner of the building, remained almost isolated, like a monument. That's the maquette of the realization, the modern realization of the exedra, and that's the building as is almost now, with the courtyard made by Michelangelo and the church which is there. That's the situation at the beginning of the century. While there was the ancient station of Rome, now this is not more anymore. It's not like this. The station starts from this place. That anyhow was the situation. As you could see, our building is here, as this one, and on the back used to have another building connected with that, which was demolished. So this building remained, let's say, completely isolated. That's the situation as it is the building now. So let's say that the bath, that's the level of the bath, the ancient bath. We have a road which is passing on top of it, and that's the other part of the bath. On that side we have another road, and that's the wall which were part of the building which was behind the building we are interested in, which with that dome. That's the dome of the space we are interested in. This building was used after the Second World War as a planetarium. It means that, you know, it was a place where the children were taken just to have a look to the sky, to the stars. And there was a projection from the center of the space on a vault which was supported by a steel structure which was built inside the old building. It's important because while we made the restoration of this building, we thought to preserve this structure as a part of the memory of that place. So it means that the restoration is not only for the Roman part, but also for the part which was built in the 20th century, which is a part of the story of that old place. That's the planetarium as it was. This is the projection instrument, which was, let's say, paid by the German government because they lost the war, so they had to pay to the Italian government something, and they paid for that. It is a Zeiss projector, which was considered at the moment one of the best possible. And you can see this is why they were just taking off from the planetarium. You can see just behind that there is the steel structure which was uncovered, and we found out that magnificent structure, triangular structure of steel that we kept. That's the plan of the museum. The idea it was that all the Bath of Diocleziano should become the National Gallery for Antiquities, for archaeology, Roman archaeology. And this area in particular, it was just for the masterpieces of the antiquities. You should think that in these spaces we do have two of the, I think, 7 or 8 original Greek bronze of the world are here. One is, let's say, they say it's possible that it was done by Fidia, and we don't know any other sculpture made by Fidia. We do know only Partenone, I mean architecture. And then we have a second sculpture which was made by Prassitene. So it means one of the two main masterpieces of the ancient Greek. They are here in this space. And the space was this, as you see, has a form of an octagon here like that. And I told you we kept the structure. These are the pillars, the steel pillars that were sort of supporting this steel structure of the vault. These are the walls while they were restoring it. You know that the first thing was, of course, to restore the wall, and even to open again what we call the eye, the hole which was just on top of the dome. You should think that this is one of the 3 vaults, umbrella vaults of the history of the Roman Empire, and is the one which is better conserved, preserved. Because we have another one which is in Villa Adriana, which is almost went down. And the third one, which is in Minerva Medica, is another temple which is close to the railway station, but it fell for almost 3/4 of the head is fell down. So this is the only one which is already and still now preserved. So we have to open again the hole which was just on top of it and to work on the walls. This was the situation we found. As you can see, it was strongly damaged, and we start just cleaning it up with care. Let's say that we have done almost by hand, so it means that it took a lot of time because we have to take off all the things that were realized during the 7 centuries. You see over how they were done. The vault was done by bricks in that position. That's a part which was just put after, just to repair probably something which came down. Then we are working with resin to fix up all the parts which were ready to fall. And these are the walls, the foundations, and even the walls, because underneath, I told you, the main hall, there was a town almost. And in that town, it was used even during the 16th century. So we have several foundations together, and they were partly destroyed. We had to keep them from the basement, making holes, crisscrossing holes, and put steel beams inside in a way that we could reinforce them, and in a way that all these pillars were kept to a structural situation which can be used. That's the pavement. That's the pavement. As I told you, we found out that's the structure. You see the pillars and the grid which is on top of it is a circular, let's say, has a circular form. We decided to keep it. That was really good idea. We will show you how it works and how beautiful is the solution. And we start working even on the pavement because we had the problem of the systems. When we have archaeological parts, we have problems of systems because, of course, they are really, really, strong, and they come. They just, there is a strong presence that is not pleasant. So we decided to have heating pavement directly in a way that we didn't need of anything fan coil or other things. For air conditioning, we thought to use the pillars which were empty as an instrument to take the air in top of the building, and then the fresh air could come back down and kept in the center of the room. That's the dome which was closed, as you can see. That's the work we start reopening it. As you could see, we found out concrete, which is really dangerous for this building, because it's something which is completely different from, the vault, which was, of course, a brick vault, not a concrete vault. And this structure, gives a weight to the dome, and even, let's say, it's less elastic, and it's very dangerous for the building. This is the same thing seen from inside the building. This is while we were working. You see the form of the umbrella vault. You see, this is really particular dome. That section, as you can see, we have a double, let's say, dome. The brick one, which is the Roman one, and the 19th century structure, which becomes, let's say, like you are in a perspective. You have a first plan which is close to you, and another one which is far away. And these give you the sense of the depth of the space. And the result, we will see the photos, is magnificent. Here, look, that's the situation. These are the two Greek statues. That's a boxer made by Phidia, and this is the big athlete which is of Prasita. That boxer is something astonishing. You can go just like, you just to touch it if you want. Of course you can. Yes, shake the hand. He's you know, sitting with the arms on the knees, looking on one side, but also he's completely astonished, like it was, you know, beaten from somebody stronger than him, and he couldn't realize why. He has the eyes which are empty, has the blood coming out from some cuts he has in the skin on the arms. It's something really fantastic. You should see it. You have to see it. And the other one is the triumph of the powerless. And you can see that all these things are put in the space like we are in a metaphysical space. That's a space full up of light. That's the sense of it. Light which enters deeply in the space, and these objects are just lying in the empty spaces, like, you know, suspended in the time. There is no time in this space. That's the space which is underneath. We wanted to see what was underneath, and so we left the foundation open with lights, and you can walk on them, even on a crystal pavement, in a way that you just fly on the ruins, and you have this light coming from down. That's the structure for the let's say systems were built. Now, I don't know if this is my first project. I want to check the other one. The second project is almost a renovation. As I told you, there is a big difference. This is a restoration of the building. Now we have a renovation, because we are in a part of Rome which is one of the most important from the historical point of view. I will show where. But the building, it was built in the, it was built in the 20th century, at the beginning of the 20th century. Probably the original facade, it was different, because there were three buildings which were put in common by one proverb, by one owner. And so he made one facade at the beginning of the 20th century. But inside it was a space all made of small rooms, dark, terribly, with the organization and the distribution which was terrible. And we were in charge of renovating it by the archaeological school, Spanish School of Rome. Because they bought this building and wanted to get over there almost different functions. There was a public function, because they have a library, which is an open library, a public library. They have a meeting area where they can have conferences. Then they have studios for researchers, and even for some sieges which can be taken in Rome. At the end, the houses of the director, the offices, and some of the houses of the students. That's a sketch we have done. We always visit the place before we start working, and exactly the position of that is where you see there is that rectangle, yellow rectangle. As you can see, this is the location. Now we have here on top, this is the president of the Republic Palace. So it means one of the most important places in Italy. Here we have, this is the Trajan Forum. So we are in the center of the heart of the ancient Rome. That's the Forum. All the area here, that's the Forum. This is the Colosseum. And here is the Capitoline Hill with the square by Michelangelo. So we are, you know, probably in the most important part of our town. That's a sketch we have done. As you can see, just facing the building, there are two domes, Baroque domes. So it's a strong presence in the building.
Please.
That's the photos. This is taken by a place where there should be the bedroom of. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
وبنساto per te.
Grazie.
Metti questo per il posto.
That's this picture was taken from the place where there will be the bedroom of the director. So I think that it's not bad when he wakes up. It's not bad to see. And yeah, just have we go straight here. If we go straight here, we leave the other one. How we can enlarge it.
Left side.
Here. This one. Double. Here. Okay. So that's exactly where we are. On the left, there is the Tower of Capitol Hill, so the square of Michelangelo. This is monument to the unknown soldier. Down here there is the Triumph Forum, and just in this corner here, there is the Caesar Forum here. As you can see here, we see just the part, and we will see better next. The next picture, the Trajan's Column. Trajan's Column is just the center of the Library of Trajan's, which was in the Roman Forum. That's it. You should think that Trajan's, while to realize that area, that forum, cut up a mountain almost, which was connecting that building. There was not a building, that's the height of the hill, with the hill which is behind. And the height of the hill was exactly the height of the column. He cut it up, just to, you know, make a place where to build the new forum. That's the building. As you can see, it's a building which is in the, let's say, strongly connected as a language with the buildings which are surrounding it. Has a good dignity and, let's say, a traditional way of being, with some important changes. Because as you can see here, the walls were closed. Here, the windows were closed up. Were closed completely. And here we have, these were the original entrances, 1, 2, and 3, you see? These were the three entrances to the three buildings. That's the main facade. And that's the secondary facade, which is on Via delle Tre Cannelle. Almost we are going to see some details, and you can see here, you can see the windows closed and the door closed. That's the main entrance. As you can see, it's an all-full solution for these windows and for these gates. It's something which was done on, let's say, during the 50s of this century. That was the entrance. That was the entrance. It means that while you entered in the door, you had, let's say, a wall to pass. Something which was a wall facing you. It's unusual because you want to be kept inside. Instead, here you have a wall. You cannot go through. You have a sensation to be, refused, and it's a terrible sensation. And look how dark was the space. That's what we didn't want anymore, because a building must be full of light, and that's what we wanted in that place. Even if you have a public space, especially if you have a public space, you must keep the people inside. And here is the secondary entrance. You see, it's completely dark. You are in a cave. You are not in a building. It's something terrible. This sensation, which oppresses us. We are going through now. This was the ground floor. You see the levels. One is is this one, and the other one is here. So it means that we had inside levels they were not speaking. We have to change everything because we want to give a fluid movement, of course, to the people. This is the public area, so it should be like that. That was the courtyard. It was an awful